Hi, how's it going everybody? So today we'll be having a look at the Odroid Go Super, the $80 Ubuntu powered gaming device. I've had this for a few days now, so I'll give you guys a closer look at it. Anyways, here's a closer look at it. Now the analog sticks do not double as buttons like on a standard controller. As you can see, we've got buttons at the bottom here on either side. Now, I do prefer a circular D-pad, like on this controller here, because the circular D-pad feels good. You can just put your thumb there and there you go. You can kind of do that here, but you have to travel with your thumb a bit more to do it. And two buttons up here on either side as well. A, B, X, Y. And of course, we have two shoulder buttons on each side. Try to get that in frame. And there's a power button there, GPIO pins, volume, headphone jack, and a Type-C USB for charging. This device, disappointingly, does not have Wi-Fi. So you would have to plug in a Wi-Fi card of some sort. And if we look at the bottom, that's where the SD card goes. Now if we look in here, it looks like there's lots of free space underneath here. Maybe that's for modifications. You could see the processing unit in there. So that's for ventilation. Could probably fit a heatsink in there. And there's only one speaker, so it's mono sound. Which is kind of disappointing. I wish they went stereo. I mean, even this device from 2010 had stereo sound. But then again, having said that, if you're using this as a portable gaming unit, you're probably going to be using headphones anyway. So I guess that cancels out. That's why it has a mono speaker probably. They assume you're going to be using headphones. So these devices are always hard to record, at least with the equipment I have. Let's turn it on. As you can see, there's the Ubuntu splash screen. Now, the screen actually looks way better in person, obviously. As I mentioned, the screens are always hard to record. There are several distributions available. It doesn't have to be Ubuntu based. The one I'm using is called Retro Arena. It's okay, a bit too bloated for my taste. I wish they would put all that compiled software just into a repository. That'll be a much better way of doing things, I think. So as you see, by default this boots into Emulation Station, and of course the screen actually looks a lot nicer in person. I don't really have a good camera for capturing devices like this. Now I did compile Super Tuxcut for this. Now I did have to tone down some graphics settings, but you know, it runs pretty well. Let's restart that because I accelerated too soon. Oops. It's just hard to see because, yeah, past my pop filter, I can't see it at all. So I have to look at my output in OBS to play this.
Round one.
Here's Tekken 6 for the PSP. Now what I've noticed about some games is when you first load the level in for this emulator, the games have a lag spike, but once the level's loaded it seems to be fine.
Round 2. Fight.
Now some PSP games are not really playable, such as God of War. However, I believe Vulkan support would be enough to give it that extra bit of performance to make some games like that playable.
Get ready.
And I believe someone at Odroid is working on trying to get Vulkan working on these. Okay, here's some PlayStation emulation. Here we go, here's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. I used to be a lot better at this game when I was a teenager, when it first came out. But now I suck at it. Let's see if we can do a hand plant of some sort. Here we go. Okay, now he's going to climb up the top. There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot you need to stun him first. Wait for his eye to turn red. There we go. There we go. That thing's dead. Now, you can play DS games on here, but, you know, I've never used a DS, so I don't really know what I'm doing. So a DS has two screens, as you can see. It spreads both screens out, in this emulator at least, I believe. Okay, you can choose which screen you want, which is pretty cool. And I don't know the buttons for this game. Oh, that's reverse. That's to go forward. What's that do? It jumps? That's a weapon, right? So the Nintendo DS has a touchscreen, right? I believe this emulator does have a way to use the analog stick to kind of simulate the touchscreen, because this is not a touchscreen. Which is weird, because again, this device from 2010, the Canoe, which I did a video about, is a touchscreen. Came with a stylus and everything. But of course, this device is a lot faster. So this is the Moonlight Game Stream client. So originally Moonlight Game Stream was just for the NVIDIA game streaming, which you needed Windows for, but you don't anymore. There's a host for there's a host for Moonlight called Sunshine, which can run on Linux and Windows, and it doesn't require an NVIDIA card. And Steam Link does not work on this device. I mean, it should be possible, but unfortunately the Raspberry Pi version of Steam Link actually checks to make sure that you're indeed running it on a Raspberry Pi. So I really wish that the Steam Link app for Raspberry Pi didn't do that check, because that works really well with Linux. So far, Sunshine has a few gotchas, like for dual monitor setups, you have to disable all your secondary monitors. Otherwise, all monitors are going to show on your client device. And running Moonlight would work better with a fast Wi-Fi dongle. This one's only a 2.4G one. One thing I have noticed is this is darker than on my computer monitor, but I'm sure that can be fixed. And of course, because I'm capturing this with a camera, you won't be able to see what I'm talking about. See, that should fix that right up.
This is Commander Rourke. I want the site secured ASAP. When Dr. Dominguez arrives, we all go in together.
So that was a look at the Odroid Go Super. Now, I've had this for less than a week, but I am really happy with it. Now, I know the specs aren't the latest and greatest, but it's only $80 US, and for that price, I think the specs are pretty good. And the battery life on this thing was pretty good too. I use this on my commute. I was playing Super Tux Kart for about 2 hours, and when I got home from work and turned it on, it still had 85% battery life playing Super Tux Kart for 2 hours. So that, I think, is a really good battery. So there are a lot of similar devices to this on the market, similar specs, similar price, but most of them are designed and come with Android. If you're like me, you hate Android, you don't want anything to do with it. This was designed to run Linux, so it's a breath of fresh air, and I love it for that. Now, because I've only had this for less than a week, maybe in the future when I've had some more time with it, had some time to play with it, I'll do another video about it. This device is from a Korean company called HardKernel, who make single board computers. So devices similar to the Raspberry Pi. Only I don't think their devices are as open as something you'd get from Pine64 or Raspberry Pi. This is not a sponsored video, I paid for this myself. If you are interested in getting one, you can get them from the HardKernel store. And you can also get them from Odroid. I'll leave links down in the description. The thing is, these are sold out at the moment, and there won't be any more till the end of February, I believe, or after February. Anyways, thank you all for watching. See you later.